We started the programme in Dedham, and this is where I've come back to do my last painting. In fact, I'm staying at the Maison Tolbooth Hotel, and I'm going to paint the view of the church over there. It's a lovely composition. The church is very prominent on the right, and the landscape just sort of falls away from it, and it's lovely and soft. In fact, I've actually started the drawing, and I've put that in with terps and a terpsy wash, and now I'm going to actually start painting. So here we go. Now that background, it is soft, as I said. The light is very soft, and the background is very dark, and this is helping, of course, or will help to bring out the foreground. Now I've mixed ultramarine, cobalt blue with a little bit of yellow ochre, and it's reasonably thin, the paint. There's a lovely white house there which I shall put in later, but the important thing is just to get this lovely dark area. I'm mixing the colour for the church tower, so here we go. If it's not right, it doesn't matter, especially with oil painting, because all you need to do is start and mix another colour. Well, this isn't, I'm not worried about this. This isn't too bad at all. Perhaps it's a weeny bit brown, I don't know. A bit too warm. I find out obviously as the painting goes on, because all colours are relative, and so until you get one colour against another, it's hard to know whether you've got it exactly. Light areas we can put on that later on, and then the dark side, the shadow is there, the shadow side. It's not as strong as it was, but I'll just get a darker colour and put it down the side for the shadow side of the church. And while I've got the dark on, I'll just put it into the windows. And this is not the door, by the way. I'm sure this must be a window. It couldn't be as high as that for a door, although a lot of it is covered up by all the trees and things underneath here. They'll gradually molt together as we go along. Let's just put that together there. Right, now this is quite a prominent tree up here, so let's get that one in first. And there's a lovely light shape that comes round here, so I'm going to go straight into some white, add it to the colour, a little bit of yellow just to make it brighter, and put that one in there. The sun, incidentally, although there's hardly any sun at all, well, there isn't sun as such, but whatever light is coming, the light is coming from our right-hand side. And so I'm obviously keeping that in mind as I'm working. Incidentally, the reason that the churches are very big around here is simply because when they were built in the 13th and 14th centuries, it was a very rich area. And this was because of the wool trade. And there was many rich benefactors who were willing to put money into the church. Now, I want to put these roofs in. I've mixed a colour with cadmium red, a touch of cadmium yellow, and white, of course. Now, they may appear too bright when I put them on. It's funny, the sun almost came out a minute ago and made the roofs much, much brighter than I'm looking at them now. But if I put them in bright like this, at least I can take it down if it gets a bit too much. Also, some of these trees, of course, have got to go over the top of them in places, and that will dirty them up as well, or darken them. And so I'm not worried that they are a bit bright. We've got sort of these roofs coming in all over the place. The whole village has got red roofs, and it's that lovely reddy pink against these greens, which is very nice. I want to just bring one or two branches off the tree, the top of the tree, and into this area at the bottom, because it does in fact come from the bottom of the hedge. Now what this does, this helps to give depth to this area here. In other words, what it's pushing that roof back. Just soften that up a bit because there's a bit of leaf and ivy around there, but it's pushing the roof back. In fact, when the sun nearly came out, it was rather light against this tree here. That's a bit too light. Just picking up any old colour on the palette that's a light colour and just bring it against here. Now, the next stage is a very important stage, is putting in the sky. And I've left the sky because I felt that this was the important bit. I've got the image in front of me of the type of sky it is, and I shall come down and if I find that this is too dark, I shall just lighten that up a little bit. But it will make everything come to life as soon as that sky goes on. It's a dirty sky, and yet it's bright. And I've mixed cobalt with crimson and ultramarine, and notice what's happening. I'm brushing it on so that this underpainting is showing through in places, and it's just giving it that warm glow coming through. I don't want to overdo the letting it show through, but it does help to give that feeling of warmth underneath this darker colour. Now that's a weeny bit lighter up there. Although it's a plain sky, there are features in it, and this I'm doing this with my brush, because if it was absolutely flat it could look very uninteresting, and there's quite a bit happening through here, and so we want it to tie in with the picture and have some change in tone and colour and movement, and let the brush just go across there like that. It's almost giving a feeling of movement in the sky. Now, when I started the painting, it got really yellow down at the bottom, and pinky yellow, and that's gone a bit, although there's some there now, and I'm just adding yellow ochre and crimson to the colour, and you can see it's just starting to take into this colour, brush back into it, and it's just going back into the distance there. It wants to be a little bit lighter, and I've mixed some more white and more yellow ochre and more crimson. So let's just see what that looks like. Yes, it still is lighter. I'm going to go lighter, more lighter, nearer the church. Oh, look at that. You see, when you push the brush, you get the colours from the back of the brush, and they're all the colours that you've been working with, so on this sky. So it's nice, and also it thickens up the paint, so where you like, you can go over to kill this underpainting. And I want to go near the church with the lightest part of the sky. But before I get there, I want to come over and finish this left-hand part. Now, try not to go into the background trees. You could use a small brush for this, and I will if in places, but at the moment I'm quite happy just to nip the edge of those trees. That's it. Now, when I've just finished the end of this field, notice I've gone darker down here, nearer to where we're standing. The next stage is simply to stand back and look at it and decide what else I need just to finish the painting off. Well, I've had a look at it and I think that's all I'm going to do, although the picture looks a weeny bit very soft and it hasn't got the contrast that it would have had with the sun, but then I like it, it's all sort of melting together. Now, I did one last year, in fact last autumn, from a pencil sketch that I did. And look at the difference, look how bright this is. The sun was out, it was very early morning, and the sun was out and it was cutting across and hitting the church, hitting the roofs and the green trees, and it really is sparkling and bright. But then, it doesn't matter, these two paintings are totally different. The atmosphere's different. And I don't mind, I like painting them anyway, whether it's the sun is out or whether the sun is in. It doesn't matter, I just love painting them. And these churches, they're so fabulous. Why don't you come and visit them yourselves? See you next time.